Hello everyone, Dr. Mohon-Doyle here. While this class does not emphasize research, it is important to recognize that the topics we are covering are only a small part of a larger ongoing conversation. For this reason, you will do some exploration on your own to identify other parts of the conversation that we have not and will not cover through the weekly readings that you would like to share with the class. In this video lecture, I will discuss the assignment requirements, how to choose an article, and how to collect your information for a script. Next week, we will discuss how to create an effective PowerPoint and how to record audio in the PowerPoint. For this assignment, you will create a 5-minute PowerPoint presentation that does 4 things: summarizes the main points of the article you have chosen, makes connections to previous course material, discusses your thoughts on the content of that article, and provides a list of questions and important vocabulary. A 5-minute PowerPoint is usually about 7 to 10 slides, depending on how much information is covered on each slide. You will be guided through each of these requirements and receive feedback at each step. Check D2L for the article PowerPoint presentation assignment sheet and for links to the planning assignments. So why make you do a PowerPoint presentation in an online class? Well, there are a few reasons. This assignment requires you to demonstrate multiple skills that you've been asked to practice already in this class, and additional skills that you'll be asked to use in future classes. These include conducting a basic online search and developing your Google Fu, reading material carefully and critically for important details, taking good notes that you can refer back to when studying or working on a major project, summarizing complex topics to show your understanding, connecting information from different sources to support or expand on an idea, share information clearly with an audience that may not have the same content or technical knowledge that you do, and speaking publicly in a confident manner even if your audience is virtual. As you choose your article for this assignment, there are several requirements that you need to keep in mind. First, I'm okay with your article being a written piece or a video. Both types of media will require you to think clearly about the information presented and to take extensive notes in preparation for the presentation. The article must meet the class theme of A Brighter Tomorrow, which means you'll want to look for different innovations that could improve the world in some way. This doesn't mean that you can't choose articles that look at potential negatives. It can be good to consider both sides of an issue. Your article needs to be long enough to be interesting. This means that there has to be some meat to it, some detail. Look for articles that include interviews, examples, stories, data, so on, to support the major claims. For a written text, copy and paste it into Word at 12-point font and see how much space it takes up. 3 full pages should give you enough to work with. For videos, 5 minutes is usually enough time to make one really solid point, but 10 minutes would probably work better. Check the source of the article. Does it come from a newspaper or magazine that you've heard of before? What's their reputation? If it's a video, who posted it and who created it? These aren't always the same. Have you ever heard of them? Avoid articles that just repeat information we've already covered in the readings and other instructional materials. However, if you find an article you like that builds on the discussions or offers an alternative viewpoint, you may be able to use it. Just ask me. Finally, choose a topic and an article that you are at least a little bit interested in or excited about. It will make this assignment so much easier. I would like you to use just a basic online search engine to find your article. Most likely this will be Google, but if you like a different engine, go for it. Algorithms and AI have made it more difficult to find good information online because they tend to highlight content created by advertisers and condensed summaries generated by AI. While these can be useful, they aren't always the best sources. I want you to practice sifting through the junk at the top of a search and reviewing several articles before deciding which one you want to use. In Google, there are a few ways to cut through the junk. One is to narrow your search using the tabs under the search bar. You can select news or videos to ensure that the sources you find meet the requirement. You can also use the Tools drop-down menu to sort by date and the relevance of the results to the terms of your search. You can also refine your search terms to get better results. One of the first things you can do is to use a Boolean search. With this, you put "and" between your search terms to ensure that both appear in the results. You use "or" if there are multiple synonyms for the term that could be used, and you use "not" if you are trying to exclude a specific term from the search. If you have a search term that is multiple words, such as AI sentience, you can put the phrase in quotation marks to ensure that the algorithm is looking for both those words together. Identifying synonyms for key search terms can also be really helpful. For example, you could look for AI or artificial intelligence or thinking computer. If you want to be more specific, you could use ChatGPT or Perplexity. If you want a term that is often associated with AI but not quite the same, you could use robot. No matter what, if you find an article that could work, copy the link into a Word document or email it to yourself so you don't lose it. I will not accept any assignments without the link to the original article. Theoretically, you've been practicing annotation and note-taking since week 1. However, this time you have to provide me with your annotations. The first thing you should do is print out a copy of the article if possible. If there are a lot of pictures, you can copy-paste the text into a Word or a Google Doc and then print. Some videos, such as TED Talks, will provide you with a transcript of the speech. If there's no way to print it out, that's fine. You'll just have to be more meticulous with your notes. Read or watch the video multiple times to ensure that you fully understand the major points that are being made. As you do so, take careful notes on these main points. Underline or write down any interesting or poignant quotes that stand out to you. You may be able to use these in your script or on your PowerPoint slides. Make a note to remind yourself why you thought that these were good quotes. In your notes or in the margins, write a one-sentence summary of the paragraph of the text or section of the video. While these may not translate directly to your script, they will help you find information faster and remind you of the main points. As you take notes about the content of your article, you should also make notes of any questions you have about the information and any strong reactions, good or bad, that you have to it. Remember, you will be including your own thoughts on the article in your presentation. Additionally, write down any key terms and jargon that your classmates may not know. You'll either need to explain these terms in your script or you'll need to include them on a glossary slide at the beginning of your PowerPoint. Once you've read or watched your article and made your notes, you need to translate your knowledge into a script that is both entertaining and informative. It's probably best to think of this PowerPoint as a summary response presentation. First, you'll want to summarize the main points of the article. Don't just cobble together a couple of quotes. A summary should be in your own words and should demonstrate your understanding of what is important. Most summaries organize information in the same order as the original article, but if you see a stronger, more logical organization that you can use once you start, feel free to move things around. You just want to be careful that you're not misrepresenting what the article is saying by doing so. It is okay to include a few of your favorite quotes, particularly if they help illustrate one of the main points that you are summarizing. Just don't go overboard. Remember, your audience is your classmates. How can you ensure that they understand the article without having to read it themselves? How can you make this presentation interesting for them? In the response portion of your script, you'll discuss your own thoughts and experiences as they pertain to the information in the article. Here is a list of possible questions you could use to guide your response, but feel free to add your own questions. Your response will likely vary depending on the content of your article. Whatever response you provide, make sure it is relevant to the information from your article and that you provide support for your views from the article, past readings, and your personal experiences and knowledge. As you read or watch your article, make notes about where you see some overlap with the previous course materials. Try to find connections with at least 2 other readings or videos. If you're having trouble finding connections, ask me. As you make these connections, remember to give credit to the source by providing attribution. And you get to decide where connections show up in your presentation. If it makes more sense to connect 2 sources in the summary, go for it. If it would work better in your response, do it. If you want to connect in both locations, I am for it. Whatever works best and flows well. There are 2 items that may require little scripting, but will require some thought. I'd like you to include at least 3 questions at the end of your presentation to get your audience to think about the topic a little more. These questions can ask them to think about the consequences of the ideas in the article, consider alternative solutions, reflect on how the ideas affect their own lives, etc. Again, the types of questions you ask will really depend on the topic of the article you've chosen. Avoid yes or no questions, make them dig deeper for their answers. I suggest placing these questions at the end of your PowerPoint and using them as your closeout. You'll also need to include at least 3 key terms or phrases along with their definitions based on the article. I suggest placing these either at the beginning of the presentation on a glossary slide or including them on the summary slides as you discuss them. Leaving them until the end might just be confusing. That's all I've got for you this week. Next week, I'll discuss how to turn your script into an effective PowerPoint and how to record your voiceover in the program. If you have any questions or would like to set up a Zoom conference, contact me at mohondoylek@apsu.edu.